it's not working and we don't know what to do, that would just make my heart drop.
Welcome to Fika's Focus. Voices leading change.
Taylor, kia ora.
Kia ora.
How are you?
A little bit nervous, but good.
It's an important kōrero today. In that space, as we start to bring value into understanding the dynamic role of an educator when working with tamaiti in the neurodiverse space. We know statistically 1 in 5 children are going to need support with neurodiversity or learning support needs through their academic career. There's some statistics that we've been told by the ministry, and it's probably relevant. And in my own kōrero and time and understanding, I've actually worked with children with neurodiversity every year of my teaching career, so the frequency is certainly something we're all going to come across, so it's an important kōrero. Yeah. First of all, I think we want to say that you've added a huge skill set to not only Papamoa Beach and Ngāhi Raka space, but to our understanding of what this looks like, A, as an educator, and B, as a parent with that hat on as well, to which we really want to acknowledge and give praise for, because it's allowed us, I know Britt would certainly advocate for this, to step back a wee bit and go, there actually are better ways of thinking through that, which is an awesome part for you. So we really appreciate your mana and effort in that space. It does stand out to the collective, and you're someone we often speak about.
Oh, thank you. I think I just so much appreciate a team that's on that same whakaaro. They're always willing to try new things, to see something from a different lens. The team's incredible. So I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah. It's a good segue into, we were discussing this a little bit earlier about just seeing a change in the team. I know it's been certainly observable as somewhat of an outsider, but we're talking about a team that's really on board, right? What are some of the elements in your eyes to a team that are on board?
That's quite a hefty quite a hefty question. One of the first things that comes to mind is asking questions. I can give an example. One of our kaiako who just this week ran a kura club, and she asked me how I felt about my son attending, because all the kids know, most of which folks whānau know that age 4 kids start attending a kura club, and my son is 4.5 going on to 5, and she just simply asked, hey, do you have any thoughts of, or how do you feel about Devontae coming through to the foyer to do a kura club today? And just that alone was so, I was so grateful, because otherwise he can often get not forgotten about, but he's okay. But as a māmā and as an educator, I might have some whakaaro to give to a kaiako. Oh, well, actually, you could try this. Well, the other children are doing this, because a kura club space, a kura club curriculum is different for neurodiverse children. I'm still learning. Heck, I'm in no way am I a tohunga, a mātanga in that space. I've just got the lived experience, and I'm just so happy to share that around. And there's so many examples I can give of our kaiako being on board, having that same whakaaro, but asking questions. If you don't know, ask me. If I don't know, I might go seek that answer from an SLT, from an early intervention teacher. Even a parent has asked me, what's this? What is it? And I said, it's called stimming. And she's like, what's stimming? She's never, it's never come across in her life and her experience, because she doesn't have any children that are neurodiverse. She's not a kaiako. Like you said beforehand, you don't know until you've come into that space. And then she wanted to be just more aware of what it is he's seeking when he's doing that. So that was really lovely.
So what is it? We're there. So what is? Because I've seen lots of forms of it in that space. But what is in that stimming space a neurodiverse child seeking?
They're seeking repetition. They're seeking a constant. They're seeking regulation as well. Sensory fulfillment is another one for my tama in particularly. It's sensory input of motion. He's really seeking that feedback. That's when he does his flapping stimming. He's also got another form of stimming on his iPad where he often likes to watch rolling credits. He'll skip right up to the end of whatever he was on and just watches the rolling credits. And that's a visual stim. It's something that really fulfills him, regulates him, which is such a blessing. A child can't learn if they're dysregulated. That's number one. They've got to be they've got to be in a state of regulation.
Actually, most people can't learn if they're
100%.
I certainly know and recognise, even with in that space, because I was the leg shifter. There was certainly a sense of anxiety, and the feedback it gave me around connection. And that's actually for a long time why I wore bare feet. Because I could feel the ground. I remember actually going to therapy and the first counsellor saying to me, "I notice you scrunch your feet a lot," and that was me seeking feedback. So I grew an understanding of what that was, and when we are seeing a child or a person helping in their own regulation and fulfillment space, And you know what? Kudos to that parent who asked, because I really applaud that. But it is nice to see people just get on and understand what the actual process is there. Just going back to your team, because it's like, so you're talking about curiosity there, because you can't be empathetic if you're not curious. There's just no way to. If you don't really think, wonder why. Then there's no way to go, now I get it and understand. When we're working in a space that can be overwhelming or difficult for children with neurodiversity, what do you as a team do to, if something's, I don't know how to deal with that, or what are we seeing here? How do you guys as a team deal with in that space?
Strong communication. Sometimes, or hopefully oftentimes, we can see, or there's some visible signs that a child is dysregulated. They might look visually frustrated. They might be banging two things together. They're seeking something to fulfill or get that energy released. So strong communication with the team. So-and-so's gone outside, they might need to push some tyres around, some heavy lifting. So-and-so seems tired, they might need some quiet time in the home corner with a book. Sometimes we can make, what's another example? Huts. Dark spaces. Swings. My son loves swings.
Yes.
That sensory input that just mellows them down, gets them back back to being grounded.
Yeah, and that is the. But you what I love here, because what I'm hearing is, you guys are only able to take action if you really know the child.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the key here, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because you won't recognize signs if you don't know how that child is in a normal day, and then when things, and of course good ones to look at are when there's events.
Yeah.
You know, like, and we want them all to be part of events. We want them to be we want everyone to be part of events, and but change can throw.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
and but we can't, like the kura club, we can't operate if we don't know and understand the child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, when we're talking about, you're talking about the feedback piece. As a kaiako, how are you creating environments that allow that feedback to continually be taken when they need it, instead of, you know, okay, go and have some quiet time, or, you know, how do you build an environment where, you know, they can go off and do what they need to help in that regulation and be grounded again?
Yeah. We're fortunate to have the support of an ESW, early support worker from the Ministry of Education, who helps take some weight off our shoulders and can support either on the floor or can support with that particular tamaiti. And yeah, that just, it helps hugely, I'm going to be honest, that in that moment that tamaiti can get his or her fill, whatever that looks like for that tamaiti. And again, because all our kaiako really know our tamariki, all I have to do is name them. That kaiako I know has that file in their head and goes, right, I know what you mean. And we'll, yeah.
The ESW support, which we really appreciate, and it is a system that's certainly needs some real drastic improvement, because quite frankly, you know, we've said 1 in 5.
Yes.
Right. Now, statistically, that's probably about 75,000 kids at any one point that need help.
Yeah.
I can tell you there's not 75,000 ESW workers in the country. But you've integrated an ESW worker into that space, and you use the wording, take the weight off your shoulders.
Yes.
Can you just elaborate a bit further on their role, the ESW's role? Because we're fortunate, they're very good. You know, our ESW supports person is just unreal. But what does that mean for you as a team, taking the weight off?
Yeah, it can look of one of two ways. One, the way the ministry like to implement their use into the centre is that they take the position of the full-time kaiako on the floor. Mm-hmm. So either that's in that outside space or the indoor space. It's that way, they like it that way, because then that full-time kaiako can really build a relationship with that tamaiti with additional needs. Mm-hmm. So that tamaiti can become, really strong bond, real good connection with the kaiako that are here Monday to Friday. Mm-hmm. I think we've been quite flexible with that, however, and it's worked out really well in our case, whereas the other way is that ESW can work directly with the tamaiti with additional needs. Say, for example, if running the floor gets a little bit hectic, say a rainy day in ECE, everyone, if you know, you know. So full-time kaiako can then run the floor in indoor space, outdoor space, and then the ESW worker can work directly with that tamaiti with additional needs. And we've been so fortunate with our current ESW, because she has been in that space for 20 years, I think she said. And she already knows the strategies to implement with our tamariki that are neurodiverse. So
Yeah, she's pretty incredible.
yeah,
and you know, we look at that, both either or scenario works depending on what's in front of you. You know,
could be both in the same day.
yeah,
both
literally.
okay.
There could be shifts, and it's the ability again to work in together to really facilitate again opportunity for the Tamaiti to access what's going on, and again taking their own level of fulfillment from what's the interactions with their peers, with kaiako, all that's the environment, all those things. We are fortunate. You're right, but I also believe it's because of the abilities of your team and Brit, and to keep. You've got a very rigid goal in mind that we want support for the kids. That's an easy one, but you're flexible in your approach.
Yes.
And that's pretty evident because we've seen the success.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PECS program, that's been fascinating to watch.
It has, yeah.
And I'm now on the end of getting the Velcro and the it's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So PECS stands for?
Picture Exchange Communication System.
Yes. So basically it's come out in it's what it's been 6 months, or not even that much. It's phenomenal. It's been phenomenal.
Beginning of term 3.
Oh, there you go. So
we're at the beginning of term
yeah,
4.
so we're into maybe end of month 4, if not maybe start of month 5.
Yeah.
So just talk through what the PECS program is, because it's actually phenomenal.
Yeah. It's picture exchange communication, where a child learns, if I give a picture of a biscuit to somebody, I'm going to receive said biscuit in real life. So one of the most important life skills it teaches is initiation. Do you know how most children will go, hey, 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 and they want something from you, or they want to show you something, or there's something cool outside. Well, my son wasn't born with that innate skill, because I think it's quite...
It is
like
innate, yeah.
a human
Yep.
to seek initiation.
Yes.
So that was huge. It was like, ultimate breakthrough. And I don't like to put time frames on how, or especially on my son, but on any Tamaiti really, on how long it should take to get from A to B, from B to C. In my head, I was just like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul. But, like, I was thinking years.
Yeah.
That it would take for him to learn, if I give this, I get this, because there's so many steps involved. There's, picking it up, putting it down on the Velcro, ripping it back up, finding an adult or somebody that you know is going
Can
to...
actually do it.
Yes.
Because a random adult could walk in.
Yes.
And
although, funnily enough, he's tried.
Yes, yeah.
He's tried to some elderly grandparents, and they don't know what he meant. But, you know, kudos to him, I suppose. That, he's got to find someone to give it to, and then know that he's going to receive that item. It's gotten to the point now that he's successfully implementing PECS Stage 4 Part B. I think that there's, like I said, there's so many steps in between, but he now has a sentence strip with a visual of a I want. He's got his book full of his wants and needs. Most of it's food related because he's highly motivated by his food. I want, he might rip off a picture of his lunchbox, stick it on, rip the sentence strip off and find any kaiako to give it to. And, like, that's him talking.
Yes.
For the, like, oh no, I don't want to cry.
Yeah.
But, like, for the first time, he's talked to me.
And he's even, because I remember the difference between him walking me over, he'd hold my hand and walk me over, and he couldn't direct me to what he wanted. Yeah. He just kept putting my hand in the basin, in the white tub. And I had to keep pulling things out from him, and he would grab my hand.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do. He didn't know and then finally I obviously picked something up, and then he walked away.
Yeah.
When now, the other day when we had the farewell for, when we did the thing for Auntie,
yeah,
he walks over with his Velcro, and he had a fruit, was it a fruit bar, a fruit pouch? There's something.
Yeah, it's a bit of a vanilla custard.
A vanilla custard thing, yeah, and the iPad. And I just get up and go and help him. And actually, he just carries on about his day.
Yeah.
And you know, Taylor, we're celebrating that too, that we're part of this. Because remember, this is new. I've been in education for 20 years, and this is our 6th year. We've never come across this system.
Yeah.
Devonte is not our first in that space,
Yeah.
but he is our first. This is our first real level of success in that space. And we're learning, and we're here with you. And to see that, to be part of that, to experience that, has been life-changing for many of us, because again, we're curious about what life is for everyone, but for children in that neurodiverse space, seeing those small things happen actually is a massive win. I think you guys have got to pat yourselves on the back as a mum and your whānau for what you're doing. You guys, I mean, you've been with us we've known you for a long time, actually. You know, Devonte was a baby with us in that space, but it's the simple things. It's the simple things.
Yeah.
What is it? What is that advanced to? I would love to know what that looks like, you know, for primary school and for initiation with friends, and does it allow them to express anger or sadness? Yeah, those things. Is that where it heads?
Yeah. So if you carry on through the PEC system, I think don't quote me, but I think it goes back to stage 8 or so.
Oh.
It can lead into a I feel visual, I see, then you rip off what it is you see. However, the next steps for Devonte, as discussed with his SLT, is that we're going to, attempt to transition him onto a core board, and then that core board will also support him with a communication app on an iPad. Reason being, PECS isn't a robust communication system. For instance, you can't really take it next to water.
Of course not. Yeah.
They rip.
Yes.
They get ripped. They can get lost. I've really printed, laminated so many times the last couple months. So the idea around a core board is I think it's like on a A3 cardboard, I suppose, and it's a lot more robust. That's the word that his SLT used.
Yeah. Technology's got a lot to play here in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just now, my own brain's just worrying about what we could look at building in that space, because, you know, he's learning a new language.
Yeah.
Right? That's fair, right?
Yeah.
That's fair. It's probably going on in his head, but now he's actually got to figure out how to communicate that.
Yeah.
And then you think about the subtleness of the cues that we take. You know, a child, like what you said, hey, you know, if someone's busy, they'll say, hang on a minute, I'm just, you know, he's got to learn that element too. And there's so much to it. in that
I
space.
think he does in his own way. Like, he's quite, without a verbal voice, he's quite persistent.
He is, yeah. Yeah, he grabs the hand, I know, you know.
I think that's his form of, hey. It's,
Yeah.
He's quite funny.
He is quite funny. He is quite funny. I think that when we think about the progress in that space, it is exciting, and I know what excites me about technology is it's advancing in spaces that we just don't really know. It's going to open up and create more robust opportunities for children in this space to. It's like when I think about, because of my ADHD. Now that I'm at peace, that I have far greater grounding, I'm okay with it. But when I wasn't grounded and wasn't surrounded by people, it got away on me. It would haunt me. And what we're talking to there with Devontae in that space is there is comms, a good group of people around him, at home, here, you know, so that's a key. So the ecosystem of Devontae is very, very connected because that's what we need.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what I love about what you do is the relationship's not vertical. You're not talking down to people and they're looking up saying, I need help, or what do I do, or da 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 da. You're very horizontal in the fact that what you're talking about is met from you with a level of, hey, we're all in this together, and people don't feel like, ooh, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a real important part, because when part of that ecosystem, as I found, when part of the ecosystem is not strong or not even existent in the connection, you get in trouble.
Yeah, you're right.
And obviously we're talking through some of the other elements of, because, you know, it's like Kate leaving. Kate, you know, damn her, bless her. But that's a break, but no notice, right? Where if it was not connected, it can cause trouble.
Yeah.
I've worked in spaces with kids where a key individual's left and it's gone, you know, it's really fallen down. So I think that's part of it. What is it? What for you in that? What's been the learning for you around anything to do with either the PECs or in your team? What's been a real key learning point for you so far?
I think it's just that there's a lot of hard money put into this space, into the neurodiverse space with tamariki with additional needs, but they deserve it. They deserve an inclusive education setting, early childhood, primary, just like all the other peers. What that looks like is just different. And I think one thing with me and my team is that, how do I word this? I've always just thought how scary it must feel for a mum if services of kaiako don't know what to do, or like potentially give up. Like that.
Yep.
That thought frightens me. If someone were to tell me, we've tried this strategy and this strategy for Devontae, but he's not progressing, or it's not working and we don't know what to do, that would just make my heart drop. So I think with me and with my team and with Future Focus Pat Beach, it's, okay, well, what do we do next? Okay, and what do we do next? And who can we reach out to now? I would never give up on a child.
And that's the segue into the professional conversations.
Yes, yeah.
See, saying I don't know what to do for now is okay.
Yes, yeah.
Giving up, and let's be honest, we see it.
Yeah.
You know, we see it. We know that happens. We know it. I'm with you. Like, I don't give up. And as a collective, as a company, I know that's not in our blood. It's actually not in our. That's not in our whakapapa and our DNA as a company. In fact, we've proven that we are here for the journey in that space with children. But what you've done is you've opened conversations, professional conversations that actually build environments that allow people to say, "Shivers, that didn't work. That really didn't work. But let's try this." Versus like, "Oh, it didn't work," or worse, not saying anything.
Yes.
And that's what does happen.
Yeah. Swept under the rug.
Swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I man, it's been a joy to watch what's been going on down in Ngāhi here at Pat Beach, and I really love it, and I think there's some really amazing things to come still in that space. Yep. The learning has been so deep, not just about neurodiversity; it's about one another. You know, that's the key. So we're really, really pumped to see that. Is there any advice, just one piece of advice you might give to whānau like that mum who was curious about, the stimming, but is there any advice you would give if you are a parent that's in that space of neurotypical children, but in how to grow deeper understanding of neurodiversity? Yeah.
We've got a saying in the Ngāhi room. The 3 and 4-year-olds say it. They say, "Oh, so and so, or he or she is still learning," and I could shed a tear hearing that, because that is just such inclusive language that our 3 and 4-year-olds know. Sometimes they know better than some adults. They automatically have that understanding, that empathy, that compassion for a tamaiti or for tamariki. Oh, they're still learning. Oh, it's just... And I think just... talk about it. Talk about it to your neurotypical tamaiti. Personally, I'm one of I like talking about autism, ADHD, or the ABC of the neurodiverse space. Talk about it. Like, it shouldn't be this thing we whisper about, or we I've always thought it's society's perception on the label that is wrong, not the label themselves, personally. I'll always say, my son's autistic, my son has autism, my son has takiwātanga. It's, to me, there's nothing wrong with the label. What's wrong is not talking about it, or going, "Hey, what's wrong with him?" to somebody on the side. So just be open and talk about differences, because that's all it is, differences.
And hold on to the fact that we are still learning ourselves. And
I'll often say, well, I'm still learning how to play the piano. I'm still learning how to do things as well. Your mum and dad probably are still learning something too.
It's actually a beautiful way of looking at it. I love out of the mouths of babes, right? I really appreciate that. Well, Taylor, we love your mahi, and we agree. The conversation's important. We're going to continue to have those conversations. And we just appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Ray.
Awesome.